On this video, I'm going to be getting down and dirty, doing one of the dirtiest jobs you can do, and that is polishing aluminum. I've got this old Freightliner fuel tank that came off of that truck back there. I'm parting that truck out. This fuel tank I think will sell for a lot better price if it's shined up. I don't want to just get 200 bucks for it. I want to get a lot more. So I thought I'd shine it up so I could do that. The other thing is, I'm a newbie at this. I'm an amateur. I've done a little bit of polishing on like rims and stuff like that here and there, but I'm kind of nervous with the sanding and everything like that it really takes to get these things looking nice, because I don't want to damage anything. Well, with this tank, I'm not really afraid of damaging anything, because even if I screw this completely up, I could still get a couple $100 out of it. So let's go ahead, get it cleaned up, and get started. So this is the parts truck that the fuel tank came out of. It's a 2000 Freightliner. I bought it for $3,000. The engine, the guy thought it was basically blown and he just wanted it out of his yard. His wife wanted it out, so I bought it for 3,000 bucks. I ended up finding the problem with the engine. It was a bad push rod, fixed it, and sold the engine for $6,500. It's still running fertilizer today in another truck. I sold the transmission, sold the fifth wheel plate. I sold the hood. The hood was funny, which just shows you never know what trash someone else is going to think is awesome. I took the hood. I thought it was busted up. It was a piece of junk. I dragged it all the way down the asphalt and threw it in the grass. I was going to destroy it, but someone came along who got hit at a truck stop with a similar truck and thought my hood was just wonderful, and so they bought it for a good price. Now I'm keeping this truck around because it does have all the wiring for an N14. If I buy another project truck, I can just grab the wiring, yank it out of here, and put it in a project truck. Make my job a whole lot easier for conversion. So here's a close-up of the fuel tank before we get going on bathing it. You can see how dirty it is. Look at all those scratches. You see those? Those are pretty decent sized. I'm wondering how these strap marks will sand out. That's going to be the most interesting aspect to me. There is one little dent that I have found. It's kind of right here, right there, where the tank straps go. I'm going to use some Alumabrite to get all this off. This sludge is so thick. There's also one little dent right here, so we'll see how that looks once I shine that up. Here's another large scratch that I'm wondering how that's going to come out. Can I get that out with sanding? We'll see. So I am going to use some aluminum brightener. Here's the brand. Bought this at O'Reilly's for $13.90. It might not be on the shelf. You have to ask them. They keep it in the back. The guy told me that crackheads like it. I think he was joking. Alright, so finished power washing. Looks pretty good. That Alumabrite works great. It took all that grease and gunk off. Let it drip dry. Take it inside. Start the sanding process. Okay, so it's time for the fun to begin. We're going to start sanding. The thing looks pretty good to me. I'm really happy with how that turned out. I could probably sell it right now and get some hits on it, but I do want to go ahead and polish this up, because I think it's worth the practice I'll get out of it. I am going to wear a mask while sanding. It's important to wear a mask. Aluminum is highly toxic. Please, if you do this, wear a mask. I've seen people do polishing with putting like a bandana around their face. Come on, wear a mask. Your life is worth it. So I'm going to start with 220. I'm going to work my way up to 300, then 400, and then 600. That's probably overkill for this particular thing, but I want to just I want to go all out. I just want to experiment a little bit, but I want to see what we can get done with the 600. So I finished sanding this whole tank, got down to the 600 grit. And let me tell you, it takes a lot longer than you might think. It took several hours to sand this whole thing down with the 4 different stages. There were so many gouges and scratches inside of this tank. I didn't get everything out. It's not going to look perfect. This is an old tank. It wasn't taken care of. It's got a lot of little pits that are going to be throughout the thing. But I still think it's going to be a good tank. Where the straps are, they're going to need to put the straps there again, unless they don't care at all, which I've seen a lot of people do anyway. But I couldn't get all of that stuff out without going down really far. So I'm ready to start polishing, and I've got myself a polisher. I've got an orange pad and a yellow pad, and I've got the brown bar and the green bar. And I think the key to doing this is just be kind of steady, same pace throughout the thing, and not try to go too quick on your lines. Try to keep them even. I picked up this rake. I think it was like $8 or $9. And from what I can tell, the best way of figuring out is when this pad starts to get shiny from picking up aluminum, you want to go ahead and rake it out because you're not polishing anymore once it gets full of aluminum on there. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get started. So this has taken me about 2 days, and I am finished with it. I'm at a place where I'm happy with the results or satisfied with the results. Let's go ahead and take a closer look. There's the flat side, and that, believe it or not, the flat sides are the hardest side to do, but I got a pretty decent mirror finish. I can see myself now. And then I got the side. Now the strap marks are still there, so whoever were to buy it would really need to have kind of a similar unit to put the straps in the same spot. But overall, Not bad for a guy who doesn't really know what he's doing. Look, what I'm left with at the end of this is just tremendous respect for people that do this day in and day out. It takes a lot of skill and knowledge to be able to do this correctly and to make it look super nice. Because when you go to polish something, you can't just wham bam back and forth. It will look so crappy. You have to have the same pressure all the way throughout. You have to be able to know when you have too much polish on and when you don't have enough. Then you got to know when you've cut it, when you're using that orange pad, you have to know, yes, I do have a good polish on my cut. Because if you go color it and you have a bad cut, it's going to look so bad. It's going to look crappy. It's going to have lines everywhere. It's going to have yellow marks. Believe me, I have a tremendous amount of respect for what they do. But if you are thinking about doing it on your own, let me just give you a couple quick tips. I bought this pad a long time ago. I was doing some other kind of project, just a little tiny polish thing. And so I got it for cheap for $17, I think, on Amazon. But look how thin it is compared to the one I bought from Evans Detailing on GoShineOn.com. I think it's GoShineOn.com, but it's Evans Detailing. You look him up, you'll find it. His pad is $28. I tried this pad for a little while, and I ended up going ahead and put this other pad on that I had from Evans Detailing, and it's night and day. So much different. But even doing that, I ran into some things like that I still don't understand. Look at my yellow pad. It just kept disintegrating. I don't know why. I don't know what level the pad gets to before it just completely falls apart. It's one of those things I still don't understand. So will I still do wheels? Yes, I will. I sure will. But when it comes to tanks, I think I'm going to try to look for a professional if it's on my own truck. But for this thing, this was an experiment anyway. This was to go ahead and learn. If I have to do it, I guess I can. But I don't want to have to do it. So with that, I'll go ahead and see you on the next one.